Now it is 1945, and I've been practicing dentistry on the west coast of the United States and Canada for almost 40 years. By the time my recently born great-granddaughter grows up, she may wonder if there really was an ancestor of hers whose legal name was Painless Parker. A duly graduated doctor of dental surgery, licensed to practice dentistry under that name in 17 states of the United States and 2 provinces in Canada. Even today, I know there are many persons who doubt that I really exist. With suppressed amusement, I have overheard people on trains argue heatedly that I'm a myth, that such a name as Painless Parker couldn't be real. I wasn't born with that name. I was born Edgar Randolph Parker. How did Painless Parker become my legal name? Well, it happened on September 15, 1915, in response to a California statute which compelled dentists to practice under their legal names. But that is a long story, and I probably should begin at the beginning. So wrote Painless Parker. Edgar Randolph Parker was born on a bleak morning on the 22nd of March, 1872, on the rugged coast of the Bay of Fundy in New Brunswick, Canada. This harsh environment, the era that he was born, and his early experiences shaped his character for his eventual career in dentistry. When Edgar was 14, his parents sent him to Acadia University in Nova Scotia to become a Baptist preacher. He reacted very negatively to this experience and was returned home. He ran away to a nearby large town where he found there was no disgrace in peddling pots and pans door to door. In fact, he discovered that he loved being a traveling salesman. He began to realize that he could sell. He returned home, only to be humiliated by his father. In anger, he left home and signed on as an extra deckhand on the Cypress, an ocean-going square rigger. One night, he was viciously attacked and beaten. He was returned to New Brunswick, unable to walk. Later, when he visited New York with his mother, the bumps on his skull were studied. His mother was advised that he would make a good dentist. Edgar applied to the Philadelphia Dental College. After 2 years of study, Edgar received his Doctor of Dental Surgery degree. He returned to New Brunswick and aspired to practice with dignity. He established a dental office next to a barber in a hardware store. After 3 months and only 1 patient, he left for a nearby small village to conduct his first outdoor dentistry show on the back of a wagon under the light of a gasoline lamp. He started his talk, "I will extract your bad tooth for only 50 cents, without hurting," and acquired the moniker of Painless. Painless had found his rubes, earned some money, and liked being a salesman and a dentist at the same time. With that, he succumbed to the adventurous spirit within himself and decided that the Pacific Northwest might be just the place for him. In late 1892, he set off with a friend on a new set of adventures, all the while conducting itinerant dentistry shows through Quebec, Ontario, and Michigan, before he boarded a train in Minnesota for the West Coast. After arriving on the West Coast, he established a traditional dental practice in Victoria. He lasted only a year and left for Sitka, Alaska. Here he met up with Agnes, a member of the Florodora chorus line, and her jealous boyfriend Sam. When spring arrived, Edgar and his beaver top hat with 2 fresh bullet holes made a break for the South. While in Seattle, Edgar met a large, formidable man in black, known as William True, the great William True, the snake oil salesman par excellence. Together they did up the towns and cities on the West Coast, as far south as San Francisco and as far east as Calgary, until they parted company, not on so friendly of terms. Edgar struck out by himself into the Canadian West in his brightly painted red wagon. During this trek through the West, Edgar had his beaver top hat shot off his head twice again, was captured by Indians, and under threat of losing his scalp, he extracted an abscessed tooth from the ailing chief. After he escaped from the Indian encampment, he made his way across the prairies back to the East Coast. At this time, he determined that a really big-time dentistry show was needed to jar New Brunswick out of its dreadful lethargy. He bought a wagon, had it gaudily decorated, and enjoyed the circuit of county fairs. According to individuals who actually witnessed the performances, Edgar's dentistry shows were always assured of attracting large crowds. His showmanship abilities and the experiences that he gained with True were his most valuable assets. He always had a band, which usually consisted of a bass drum, a cornet, and a banjo. The musicians would assemble and perform on stage. Their colorful red and white striped coats, straw hats, and red pants, as well as their lively Dixieland music, not only attracted patrons, but put the people in a festive and excited mood. One could almost feel the electricity of the crowd as the band played on. Soon, Edgar ran out of towns that he hadn't visited in New Brunswick. At the end of July 1896, he went to New York. After arriving in Brooklyn, Edgar wed the pretty Frances Wolfe and joined one of the New York dental parlors, a nationwide advertising chain. Edgar met up with Bill Beebe, rent collector and ex-circus man from the P.T. Barnum Big Top. At the Barnum Circus, Beebe had done it all. After Beebe lost his rent collecting job, Parker hired him. One of the first things his new manager told Edgar, "For advertising purposes, you'll have to drop the Edgar R. Parker name and revert back to the old moniker that you used in Canada. Your name from now on will be Painless Parker. Got that?" At that moment onwards, Edgar was a reborn again dentist. Beebe continued, "Painless, there's more. Last night I designed some suitable signs to fit your new and improved image. You will now have signs on both sides of the building. One will read, 'I am positively it in painless dentistry. Yes, me, Painless Parker.' The it part will be 10 feet tall. I want people to be able to read your signs from the Grand Army Plaza about a mile away." Each evening for the next several weeks, Painless and Bill rented an open carriage and drove to the busiest street corners in Brooklyn, the Bronx, and Coney Island. At the appointed time, Beebe would stand in the carriage and play a solo on the slide trombone. By the time he was done and a sufficient crowd was attracted, Beebe would announce, "Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's my pleasure to introduce you to Dr. Painless Parker, the noted pioneer in painless dentistry." Within a matter of months, Painless started to build an empire of multi-chair dental offices until he eventually had 17 separate clinics, all bearing the Painless Parker name. Painless continued with his traveling dentistry shows. It was at one of the county fairs in New York that he extracted 357 teeth, all in one day. He made the teeth into a necklace and wore it proudly for all to see. In 1902, at the pinnacle of Painless Parker's advertising career, Beebe suddenly and without warning suffered a massive stroke, and within 3 days he was dead. Painless suffered a nervous breakdown. He and his family went to Europe for an extended convalescence. When Painless Parker returned to New York, he found that his empire of Painless Parker dental offices, his name, his style of advertising, and his ideas of promoting dentistry all were now being copied by others. He discovered that without Beebe, he no longer had any heart for dentistry. At the age of 34, Painless Parker left New York for California and retirement. Once in Los Angeles, Painless began to quietly study the local dental situation in LA. Painless drove his red Peerless automobile to downtown LA and found the busiest intersection that he could locate. In a matter of minutes, a patient was sitting back in the rumble seat of the Peerless, and he was about to become the first person to receive a public tooth-pulling exhibition on Painless's comeback. Soon afterwards, Painless began to run full-page advertisements in the local newspapers. By the time 2 months had lapsed, 4 Painless Parker dental offices had opened up in Los Angeles. Painless now picked up the pace. He hired a brass band, acrobats, jugglers, and other entertainment talent for his street exhibitions. Under the spell of good intentions, Painless decided to move to San Francisco. For a time, Painless managed to remain clean and unsullied by the evils of advertising. However, one afternoon, suddenly, he realized what had been missing from his life. Within the next few days, Painless bought a red truck and rigged a mobile dental office on its back. He soon headed for the intersection of the busiest street in San Francisco. He proceeded to blow his cornet and began, again, a long series of live, open-air dental lectures and tooth extractions. However, by 1920, Painless decided that the days of providing street dentistry extractions and delivering sidewalk dental education lectures were over. He decided to tone down his advertising somewhat. An educational newspaper campaign was designed to explain what the E.R. Parker system was. It emphasized quality and explained the Parker concept of dental ethics and advertising. In 1939, Painless Parker toothpaste, tooth powder, and antiseptic mouthwash were commercially marketed by his Associate Dental Supply Company of San Francisco. His wife Frances died on August 16, 1945. A short time later, he decided to take up residence in 2 small cluttered rooms on the 5th floor above his San Francisco dental offices in a flat iron building on 3rd and Market. In 1948, Hollywood cast Bob Hope as Painless Potter and Jane Russell as Calamity Jane in the movie The Paleface, a Technicolor comedy farce inspired by Parker's life. Painless enjoyed seeing the film tremendously and was very happy for the publicity. It didn't matter to him that the spoof of his life had virtually no similarity to the actual events. In later years, his personal advertising had become quite subdued and was limited mainly to trade card announcements. Each had a photo of Painless in his mid-70s, with gray hair and his characteristic Van Dyke. On January 5, 1952, Collier's magazine published a 3-part series entitled Painless Parker, Last of America's Tooth Plumbers. The public response was immediate, enthusiastic, and largely positive. These articles provided a real shot in the arm for Painless. He said, "This is terrific free advertising." On September 22, 1952, Painless got a sudden burst of energy and worked all day from 9:30 a.m. until 5 p.m. selling and extracting teeth. There was no clue that within 47 days, Painless would be dead. On November 1st, he had his 4th heart attack, and on November 8, 1952, Painless Parker, dentist, died quietly in his sleep. His daughter had once told her father, "Dad, when you die, the Parker system will also die." Within 6 weeks of his death, the California State Dental Board ordered that all of Painless Parker's advertising signs must be removed. The Painless Parker signs were down throughout the state by mid-February 1953. Painless Parker, dentist, ceased to exist in California. It had all come to pass, as his daughter had predicted.